Good afternoon, you guys. Hopefully, y'all are coming in here to join me because y'all know I am always being nosy. I am always being nosy, and it's some more mess coming up with Keefe D and connected to P. Diddy. And I wanted to come and talk to y'all about it because I have a conspiracy for y'all. So I hope y'all came in here in order to talk with me today, okay? I hope y'all come in. If not, just leave your comments, questions, suggestions in the underneath the comment section on the replay, and I will respond to those things. So I wanted to start off this live with something because y'all know I'm always connecting a whole bunch of things, right? So because I've been had such this inquisitive nature since I was a little girl, I'm always into something, always looking into something, right? Um, my my parents and other my family members joke around and say that they should have named me Sophia. It means wisdom. And in the old Gnostic text, of Sophia was an emanating being. She was like one of the gods who she was trying to figure out everything. And she overreached her bounds and she ends up falling to earth. And as a result, she gets mad. So that's little bit of background about why some of my family members say that. But sometimes they say that should have been my name. It's Sophia, right? So I want to connect something because I want to try to help bring like a whole bunch of things together all at one time, right? So I want to start off with this, right? When having a conversation about investigative journalism, right? And investigative reporting, it is important to understand that this is a tool that has always been used and utilized by law enforcement in order to try to um, investigate or get started new investigations. And that investigative reporting can start in a lot of different ways, right? So, one of the major investigative reports that I first really examined very closely because of my inquisitiveness behind this particular topic was the Boston Globe Spotlight team. Okay. So, for those who don't know, the Boston Globe Spotlight team won the Pulitzer Prize in the year 2002. And the reason that they won the Pulitzer Prize is because they had done investigative pieces consecutively, week after week after week, in connection to the Catholic Church sex abuse scandal, right? These hit pieces, some people looked at them as hit pieces, right? Because prior to that, you had because they knew that this unit was on to finding out something about what the Catholic Church had been doing, the abuse that had been taking place. You had a lot of fluff pieces that a lot of the other news organizations were putting out, trying to combat what they knew was about to come out by the Boston Globe, right? By this special investigative unit, right? And so you had all of these other news organizations who were putting out fluff pieces. So when you look at investigative reporting, depending on which side of the fence you fall on, most people are going to look at it as a hit piece, and some people are going to look at it as a fluff piece. So a hit piece is when it's some malice in going after the subject of the report, right? Whether it be a person, an organization, whatever, right? There's some malice in going after and trying to ruin the reputation of the subject, right? But a fluff piece is when there is over exaggeration used in order to try to make the person or the organization look much better than what it is. Kind of like how when I said that Donald Trump used to do these, he used to call, and he had these friends that he could call in within the news organizations and get them to do fluff pieces on him, right? Because he was receiving a whole lot of reporting about from investigative journalists who were reporting some of the bad shit he was doing. He was getting some bad reporting in regards to what his the women that he had been with were saying, right? And so he started to utilize those people in the media that he had connections with in order to do fluff pieces on him, right? And so it's just like a hit piece can be malice and extreme to the point where it only highlights all of the negativity about a person or an organization in order to damage and ruin the reputation. A fluff piece does the opposite. But the reality is that sometimes these reports aren't either. They are investigative, right? When we look at it from a neutral standpoint, it is investigative. But if you are extremely on one side or the other, you're going to look at it based on that perspective, right? And so the Boston Globe was running a bunch of pieces week after week after week in its in the spot in the paper called Spotlights about the Catholic Church abuse. This investigative reporting led to the investigation into what was happening with Catholic priests who were molesting children. And as a result, the investigations ended up um, having some individuals criminally prosecuted, having the organization held accountable, right? And so this is the reason why the Boston Globe in 2002 won the Pulitzer Prize. And so I wanted to say that to start off with this, that because when people look at the utilization of news articles, documentaries, and other reports as being something that should not be used in order to lead someone to an investigation, this is a tactic that has been used since investigative reporting started. The purpose of the investigative reporting is that if a crime is noticed and revealed, that it can be investigated by law enforcement, right? And so there's a quote, right, that I want to quote. And it says, when the person doing the documentary unearths criminal activity, it makes getting information easier. I don't know who made that quote, y'all, but I felt like that quote was so important to discuss what I'm about to discuss today. The quote again says, when the person doing the documentary unearths criminal activity, it makes getting information easier. Okay. So today I am here to talk to you guys about the lawsuit that has been filed against Keefe and 100 other unnamed persons. Okay. So, let me see. What date was this lawsuit? I'm trying to see what date this lawsuit was filed. Hold on. I think I put it down here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Maybe I forgot to document the date of the lawsuit. But somewhere at the end of April, a lawsuit was found on behalf of the Tupac Shakur estate. Okay. His stepbrother Maurice Mopreme Shakur is the one that is listed as the plaintiff to represent the estate. Okay. So Mopreme is the son of Mutulu Shakur, Dr. Mutulu Shakur. Dr. Mutulu Shakur was Tupac Shakur's stepfather, but he raised Tupac, right? And Dr. Shakur went to prison for 60 years. He died back in 2023, but he was very close to Tupac, and he raised him. He was a fiend in his husband, okay? And so Maurice Mopreme, they call him Mopreme, and that's what I'm going to use here on out. Mopreme was the biological son of Dr. Mutulu Shakur, right? So he was Tupac Shakur's stepbrother. Athena and Mutulu have a daughter, a biological daughter. But for some reason, Maurice is the executor of the Shakur estate. And so that is why he is listed as the plaintiff to represent the estate. Okay. Because I think that the Shakur estate was passed down to Mutulu, the dad. And then when he passed away, then Mopreme became the executor. I believe that's how it got passed down. Okay. So we all know that back in September 1996, Tupac was killed. Okay. And there has been lots of controversy ever since the death of Tupac Shakur. Okay. Oh, the case was found in April of 2026. So I don't know I don't have the exact date, but it's April of 2026 that the case was found. Okay. So what the lawsuit alleges is that, like I said, there are 100 unnamed defendants, and the complaint alleges that participants may have planned, financed, directed, and carried out the conspiracy that led to the death of Tupac Shakur, right? In the filing, it says that the names and capacities will be listed during the discovery process. So basically meaning that as the discovery is submitted, right? And they will begin to name and give the capacity to the unnamed individuals in this lawsuit. Okay. Now, I want to go back for a second because I wanted to get that foundation, but I want to say something very important. This is important, and this is what goes somewhat to the conspiracy. And well, I don't even know if it's a conspiracy. I think I kind of got it. I don't think it's a conspiracy. Okay, I think I might be on my road to a theory. Okay. This is turned from possibly a hypothesis. Let me use that term instead of conspiracy. I am formulating a hypothesis that we're gonna test the theory, right? So the person that is representing Maurice Shakur, the stepbrother of Tupac Shakur, is none other than Alex Spiro. Alex Spiro is with the Quinn Emanuel group. Okay. Now we heard that Quinn Emanuel before, right? But Alex Spiro is the attorney of Jay-Z. And he represents Roc Nation. So we know he represented Meg Thee Stallion in this recent situation that she had with Milagro Grams. He also provided representation to Meg Thee Stallion during the Tory Lanez situation, right? Because Meg is a part of Roc Nation, right? And so Alex Spiro is the attorney that has been retained for this Shakur estate, Jay-Z's attorney. Okay? Y'all just follow me, okay? Now, Maurice retained Spiro back in 2024. What is that symbolic of? Okay? So now let's go back. Let's travel back to 2024, September of 2024. Okay? In September of 2024, something was brewing, something was happening. Someone was getting ready to be placed under arrest and indicted. And that was none other than Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Brother Love Combs. Okay? And during that process of him being arrested, and after he got arrested, and while he was trying to make bail, he was attempting to establish a legal team. And part of the people that were being looked at to be part of this legal team were Alex Spiro and Joe Tocopina. Okay, right? Joe Tocopina. Both of these individuals had connections to Jay-Z and Roc Nation, right? Back then, it was said that the reason why because Spiro, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, either agreed to be a part of Diddy's defense team initially and then had to withdraw, or he gave a verbal agreement. I know there was some kind of agreement that he was going to be a part of this legal team for Diddy, but then he had to step back. And the reason that we were given for him that he stepped back was because of the conflict of interest that arose because of him being Jay-Z's personal attorney and his relationship with Roc Nation. And so this is why he took a step back from being a member of the Diddy legal team, right? And Joe, he basically was the same reason, right? Now, I'm only mentioning Joe. Joe, to my understanding, doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in this current lawsuit with the Shakur estate against Keefe D and these unnamed individuals, right? But I'm only naming it because they were two individuals that were floated, and both of them gave the same reason for why they couldn't join Diddy's legal team. They couldn't join Diddy's legal team because of their personal relationship, but they're both their personal and professional relationship with Jay-Z. And they also the fact that they represent Roc Nation. And they did not, there was emphasis on saying they did not want to do anything that was going to compromise the integrity of Jay-Z or his organization, right? And so neither one of these individuals ended up being part of the team that represented P. Diddy in his RICO case in New York. Okay? Follow me now. So, listen, y'all. What is somewhat weird is Alex Spiro decided not to represent P. Diddy. Hey, Just V, girl, wait a minute. I think it's something that's unearthing. Okay, something is unearthing. Something is happening with Diddy in this whole Keefe D situation, in the Tupac situation, and it's a whole big it's a real thing now. Based off of the representation that's been retained, I can say that this is more than likely that the rumors are true, that this thing is going in a certain direction. Okay, so Alex Spiro was retained by Maury Shakur, Tupac Shakur's stepbrother, in 2024. So at the same time, Diddy gets arrested, he gets indicted. You said they still haven't notified me to tell. right, just me. So wait for your letter because it's getting ready to come because some subpoenas are going out. I was told that some subpoenas are coming out. So just wait for your letter, okay? You might end up getting contacted by 50 Cent first, and I'm about to tell you why in a minute. But 50 might contact you first, and he might need you to be on the next installation of the documentary. And then from there, then you might get your subpoena in order for you to come testify in this case. You are probably going to win a free trip to Las Vegas. You said, because I can attest to all of the times Keefe D said he had done it. Exactly. And said Diddy paid him. Right? Just be right. Don't forget to add that part. Don't forget to add the part that he did it and Diddy paid him, right? Because let me tell you, Alex Spiro ain't forgetting this part. He's not forgetting that part. So we thought at the time that we were seeing Alex Spiro say that he could not represent P. Diddy in the allegations that he had in the RICO, that it had all to do with Spiro's relationship to Jay-Z. But in the same year, Alex Spiro, who works for the Quinn Emanuel Group, took on the case for the Shakur estate. That is no coincidence. It is no coincidence that Alex Spiro, if this is what I think that Spiro would have done, right? If he was so interested, if the only reason why was because of what happened with Jay-Z, that he did not take Diddy's case, I don't think that he would then agree to take on a civil suit that involved the client that he was about to represent in a criminal proceeding. So I believe that that was the reason we were given for why Alex Spiro dropped and withdrew from the Diddy case. But now there is information that is being released that Alex Spiro took Maury Shakur on as a client in 2024. Now, it's another interesting piece that I want to add to this, y'all. And it brings back some old notorious characters. And that is Courtney Burgess. Because Courtney Burgess claimed to have a relationship with Dr. Mutulu Shakur. So we might see him pop back up in this saga, in this second part of the saga. because I don't know what that relationship was. You said, remember Courtney Burgess, the one who wrote that horrible ass book, Kim Porter book? Him, Courtney Burgess. Remember him and Ariel Mitchell kid? So I think it's possible we might see a resurrection of Courtney Burgess as this story continues to unfold. You said ain't they selling weed now? Him and what's the girl name? Andrea English. I think they had a fallout, Just V. I think they had a fallout. I don't know all of what happened. I don't know if they didn't got back together and mended defenses and now they back to working together again. But yes, they did go on a venture in order to, not we, Just V, they went on a venture in order to open up a medicinal marijuana business. Okay? So, and the names of their products were things named after things that were associated with P. Diddy and his RICO trial. Okay? This was their marketing strategy, right? So it leads me to believe that Spiro's real reason for pulling out and not being part of Diddy's legal team, it may have had something to do with Jay-Z, right? But I would think that if Jay-Z and Diddy were good, okay, they were business partners, they were cool, right? And if you didn't want to do something to compromise the relationship that you have with Jay-Z, the relationship that you have to his organizations, right? Then maybe you wouldn't take on a case for the Shakur estate that may allege that P. Diddy then killed or had something to do with the unaliving of Tupac Shakur. But Alex Spiro took on the case, right? You said show Keefe D some love. I ain't showing them shit. I ain't showing them shit. He is some hot shit now. Because see, he think that them prosecutors and stuff over there in Vegas, they be playing with him and shit. He be trying to play with that judge over there. Alex Spiro is trying to get down to the nitty-gritty. And the nitty-gritty that Alex Spiro is trying to get down to is, what did P. Diddy have to do with this death? That is the main reason why I believe Alex Spiro was retained. And now I am almost convinced that, okay, maybe a little something had to do with, maybe there was a little something that had to do with him and his relationship to Jay-Z. But I think more so that when certain information was given to him, that he decided that it was better for him to take on the Shakur civil case than to be one of Diddy's attorneys in Diddy's criminal case. And so, in my opinion, I feel like this is why he decided to take the latter, the Shakur estate a case. Because we talked about this the other day when we were talking about civil cases. Remember, Just V? Civil cases can bring out information that can lead to a criminal case. And to retain a group like Queen Emanuel to do the investigation is a big, big, huge thing to do. Right? Yes, do the governments and state have a lot of manpower? Yes. But the type of firm that Queen Emanuel is, they have the power to try to invest. They have high profile, high celebrity clients. They have more than the resources they need in order to investigate somebody like a P. Diddy on something like this. Okay? You said, but maybe he's just a part-time ambulance chaser. You talking about no, Alex Spiro is not. That's what I'm saying. He ain't no part-time ambulance chaser. Wait a minute. Let me see. Hold on. You said, well, Keefe D said exactly, Just V. He said it. You know this shit is wrong. No, this is the shit they got themselves into. If it's wrong, it's because he was wrong trying to make the money off of it. So what? So this can be looked at two ways. You said, Just V, you said, wait, so why would he drop the case on behalf of Jay-Z. Help me connect it. Okay, so because remember at the time, that's why I think that was just a cover, just V. I don't think that the reason why he dropped the case was that because of Jay-Z at all. But I think it was the obvious thing to do at the time in order to get himself off the case. Because I believe at that time, and it had to be because Spiro started working on the behalf of the Shakur estate in 2024. This is the same time Diddy gets arrested in September of 2024. So it had to be after that he had to have a consultation with Maurice Shakur after Diddy was already arrested. That's what I'm believing it had to happen. Because if he had a conversation with them before, he would have already known that there was going to be a conflict of interest and that he couldn't even be a potential to be on the case for Diddy in the RICO trial in New York, right? So I believe that Maurice Shakur came to Spiro and Quinn Emanuel after Diddy was arrested and asked him to represent the Shakur estate. And so I believe that the Jay-Z relationship was a front, but the way that they were able to get people to buy into it was because remember at the time Jay-Z had that allegation from that mentally challenged girl, her and Diddy. They made up all that crazy shit about them. She hitchhiked a ride or some kind of way she made it to Times Square for one of the award shows and all of this crazy ass shit that she said, and they gangbanged her. And I can't remember if she said Beyonce was in the room or somebody, but Jennifer Lopez, somebody else was in the room. And so that Spiro used that as a reason of why he was withdrawing from representing Diddy, right? But you said, but what does that have to do with Jay? What am I missing? Oh, you're saying because of the law. Right. So what I'm saying is I think that was all a cover up of why Spiro withdrew from the Diddy case. Spiro was supposed to be on the team. Yeah, girl, she climbed out the window and caught a ride. I think Mary was in the room. I think it was J-Lo in the room. Just V. J-Lo was up in there. Cause Jay-Z, when Spiro went to go show that PowerPoint, remember Spiro? Spiro is the one, remember, who did that PowerPoint presentation one afternoon on TV to show the people how this was impossible to happen? That's Spiro. That's Alex Spiro. And so Spiro, I think, showed that J-Lo had accompanied Diddy that night. And he shows all of the stuff about her outfit changes and how the time that would have been needed for the outfit changes and how all of this would not have coincided with the time frame that the alleged victim had given and all of this. Like, Spiro did a whole PowerPoint presentation on this shit, okay? Like, Queen Emanuel has an excellent reputation. Alex Spiro is like an esteemed attorney. He is not taking on this Tupac Shakur lawsuit lightly. He's not taking on this to lose, right? You said she rode 5 hours to NIC, called her daddy, waited 5 hours and drove back 5 hours. The daddy ain't even asked why she was at the gas station. Exactly, that one. Now, see, now I'm jogging your recollection, Just V. Now we're on the same page, right? And so I believe that in the midst of Spiro creating that PowerPoint presentation, somewhere in between that PowerPoint, he had a consultation with Maurice Shakur. And he agreed to take on the case of the Shakur estate. Now, you ask me how this is what I would think, right? If him dropping from the Diddy defense team in the RICO case only had to do with the relationship that he had with Jay-Z and Roc Nation, then when Maurice Shakur came to him with this lawsuit, right, to get this consultation, he would have kindly declined, because he would have looked at it and said, okay, this is another, this is the murder of Tupac is a big, huge thing in the African American community. This is not no thing to be playing with, right? And you think about, okay, he declined Diddy representation because of his relationship with Jay-Z, because of his relationship with Jay-Z, because of his relationship to Jay-Z's organizations. So if I don't think I can win this case, if I don't think it's something to this case, I'm not going to take this on, because this can have some impact on my client. You know, we always hear all these Jay-Z conspiracies, or all these people thinking that Jay-Z is in conspiracy and he's involved in everything. And I mean, they put him up there with the people who they think rule the world. He is involved with moving all of the chips on the board. He's involved with rolling all of the dice. He owns the casino, everything that runs everything that gets all of these black people incarcerated, right? And so for you to take on the Shakur estate case against Keefe and 100 unnamed individuals, right? Knowing that one of the individuals that was named in the original statements that were made by Keefe, which is why he was able to go and make all of this money being on Vlad and all of these shows, right? Is P. Diddy. So you would say, you want to know what? I was about to represent this man. I believed in his innocence in this RICO case. I don't think he probably did what this man Keefe D said he did. I probably we won't get no kind of settlement, or nothing will come of this. So I'm not going to take this case on. In the interest of me making sure I'm protecting my other high profile clients that I've developed professional and personal relationships with, I'm not going to take on this case. I can refer you to somebody else, right? No, Alex Spiro didn't say that. He took on the case. He took on the case. And so now, as of April 2026, the lawsuit was filed. The lawsuit was filed, and I told you what it is alleging. It has named 100 other unnamed defendants. And the complaint alleges that participants may have planned, financed, directed, or carried out the conspiracy to unalive Tupac Shakur. It states that as discovery, during the process of discovery, it will unveil the names and the capacities of the other 100 individuals, right? Let me tell you what else they've done. So I started this live off talking about the Boston Globe and spotlights and how they ran these investigative pieces. And so we've always had documentaries with us, but once upon a time we had these things called newspapers and people read them. And the Boston Globe was a popular newspaper. And so it reached a lot of people. And so this is what made the Boston Globe being used in order to expose and shine a spotlight on the Roman Catholic Church important, right? This is what made this important, right? And so, yeah, I seen that, JoJo. I seen that. But I'm connecting I'm connecting who the real, this is the target. Diddy is the target. And I'm going to tell y'all how Diddy is the target. So while everybody thinks that investigative journalism through the use of newspapers, documentaries, and other reports is something new, hey, Tears, it's something new that's been being done, right? This is something that has been used ever since the term investigative reporting became a thing. They have always used this. This has always been something that law enforcement has used in order to try to find out criminal activity that might be going on underneath their nose and they might not know about. They might not have the capacity within their departments in order to investigate. But if the investigative journalists can get them to a certain point, then they can take it the rest of the way. And it's the reason why I quoted this quote. And like I said, I don't know where this quote came from, but this quote encapsulates exactly what I'm about to say next. When the person doing the documentary unearths criminal activity, it makes getting information easier. And that is exactly what 50 Cent and the other producers and Netflix did when they went to go do the reckoning on P. Diddy. Because what is happening now is that Alex Sparrow is subpoenaing the information that came from the documentary The Reckoning. Kurt Burrows is being sent out a subpoena, and several other individuals who talked about what they may have known or witnessed as it pertains to the unaliving of Tupac Shakur are going to receive a subpoena. This is what Alex Sparrow is doing. Quinn Emanuel, not your run-of-the-mill law firm, highly prestigious law firm, is using a civil court case in order for them to try to get some discovery. And I believe that discovery, if they find what they need to find in the discovery process, will lead to a criminal prosecution of Sean P. Diddy Combs in the death and murder of Tupac Shakur. When they thought they hit a stumbling block because Keefe wanted to try to recant all of his statements, guess what? Another route was found. And this speaks exactly to what we were talking about the other day when we said civil lawsuits being used in order to obtain discovery that can lead to a criminal indictment. I believe this is the main reason that this is being done. Does the Shakur estate want some money? Maybe. But do they want the people that they feel are responsible for the death of Tupac Shakur to be held accountable more than they probably want the money? Yes. And if they see that something is going awry in this criminal investigation that they got against Keefe D, and if they feel like that's not coming together in order for them to get to it, they found another way to get to it. They done found another way to get to it. Hey, Queen Keefe. And Alex Sparrow is on the job. Let me tell you, Joe Topingo or Alex Sparrow are not taking a case that they don't feel like they gonna win. They ain't one of them. They not Busby. They not Ariel Mitchell Kid. They not taking on the same seriousness that man went and he took that case serious. We was all laughing at the case. We ain't believe the mentally ill girl off the bat. Off the bat, we knew something was wrong with this story that the mentally ill girl was telling. But Alex Sparrow, no, he took it serious. He went and prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and then he used the media in order to exonerate his client. And then attempted to go after the attorney who filed this frivolous lawsuit against his client. You said, when is it going to happen? The lawsuit was filed in April, at the end of April. I think it might have been the 26th. Somewhere, I think around April 26th, the lawsuit was filed. And so now they are in the process of preparing for subpoenas to go out. And it has been confirmed that the Netflix series, The Reckoning, and some of those individuals who provided their account in that documentary are going to receive a subpoena, specifically Kurt Burrows. Because remember, Kurt Burrows is saying that he had those receipts of the rental cars and the things of that nature. So this is a real thing that is happening. When we kept saying that their goal is to get to P. Diddy, we knew the goal was to get to P. Diddy in the death of Tupac Shakur. We knew that. And this is showing that this is the process that's unfolded. This is where it's going into motion. They are going to use whatever discovery that they get from this civil case. And if they are able to connect Diddy to this conspiracy. Remember, I told y'all the complaint alleges that the participants may have planned, financed, directed, or carried out the conspiracy to unalive Tupac Shakur. That's what it alleges. And it says that they will list the names and capacities during the discovery process. So, listen, it ain't no lie. They are trying to find another way to get this man. This was the smoking gun. This is the real thing that they wanted to get Diddy on. When they went and did what they did with the Cassie situation, I am almost inclined to believe, I don't know when they moved into it so quickly or did whatever they did. I don't know what the whole motive or plan was behind all of that. But once Keefe D got arrested, we knew that they had Diddy in the sights because he connects Diddy to the crime. So that is the real thing they want to get Diddy on, is his connection to the Tupac murder. Jojo, you said Reggie Wright Jr. ass should be, it says 100. Maybe he is. There are some people who are floating the names around and saying, hey, he better get ready. Because some people feel like he is in that list of 100. They not just saying this 3, 4, 2 unnamed persons. They are saying 100 unnamed persons. And they will identify those names as discovery during the process of discovery. Y'all, this about to be a goddamn mess. I don't know what is about to hit the fan. But I don't know if, and listen, this brings in good old 50 Cent. Good old 50 Cent. This brings him into the picture. That's what I'm saying. This is messy. It is all of the things. This right here is all of the things. This is where we are going to get the information. Because right now, Keefe D is trying to stay tight-lipped. He's trying not to say anything because his own life is on the line. They trying to stall, prolong things, trying to push things off in the criminal proceeding and investigation. This is part of the reason why. Listen, y'all. I'm a go. Now, this might be floating in from my hypotheses to a conspiracy for me, right? Because what I'm telling you now is my hypotheses. We're going to see if it becomes a theory, if what I say becomes true. You said Keefe D has said it. Yeah, he has. You said how long I've been saying they want daddy love. Free Keefe. Listen. Keefe D done seal his own fate too by him not just cooperating in the whole shit properly in the first place. Like I said, he's so fucking dumb. Whatever it is, I feel like he knew something, regardless of whether he actually did what he said he did or whatever. He definitely knows something about the murder of both Tupac Shakur and Biggie because he was present in both situations. So nobody can tell me that he didn't know nothing. But I'm going to tell you that he didn't seal everybody's fate with his big mouth trying to go out and make money, talking about he was only doing this to go out and make money for interviews. Well, now look what you have done. I really want to see how the Black community is going to reconcile this, because you got so many players in the situation when it comes down to this situation. How is the Black community going to divide up on this issue? That is going to be interesting to watch. Because you got the famous attorney of Jay-Z, who is representing the Shakur estate, who is also a beloved by the community. You got P. Diddy, with some part of the community still got some love for him. I don't know what that is about. I'm thankful for the stage that he provided for other people to give their contributions to the culture, because that's what he did now. That's what he did. Let's be honest. He provided a stage for other people to give contributions to the culture. He did not make the contributions. He provided, just like Clive Davis and all the rest of them, he provided the stage for other people to make the contributions to the culture. But then he mistreated them all the same. And I'm trying to figure out how the same people who got an issue with the top executives mistreating R. Kelly don't got an issue with the fact that P. Diddy mistreated his own people and his own damn artists. But some things you just ain't gonna never get the answer to, because the shit just don't make sense, right? It just don't make no sense. But anyway, going back to this subject, right? There's still some people who got some love for the man, I guess. And so now you have all of these players, all of these things. And how is the black community going to reconcile that? You said, I hate how Keefe has made me a witness. Trying to mind my business. Listen, I'm telling you, it's going to be a part 2 to the reckoning. Okay? It's going to be a part 2. You gotta go first. And because in order for you to be considered a qualified witness, you must first do a documentary. That's the rules, just me. In order for you to be a qualified witness, you first have to go and give your testimony on the documentary. So 50 Cent, I'm going to get in touch with him, and he is going to send you a demand letter to come be on the next installation of The Reckoning. And then after that, you will get your subpoena to come testify. Unless you want to be like Portia and just take yourself over to the FBI. Portia just took her and walked herself over to the FBI. If you want to do that, go ahead. If you want to wait for the letter to come to you, that's going to be the process. Wait a minute. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. You said, I can't agree with that. Finding talent and knowing what's hot is okay. Yes, that is a talent. I'm not, but what I'm saying is that the major contribution came from the artist. I do agree, Just be finding the talent and then funding the talent. It is important, but then when you're raping the talent and you are a black executive producer, executive doing this, and how everybody always has so much to say about other artists being raped of monies and being done wrong and done bad. But then they still revere this black man doing it to black people, the black artists. That's my first problem. That's my first problem with the situation. Like, it's based off of some of what Diddy was doing. Some people should have been done with him a long time ago based on the way that he was predatory towards his artists. But hey, this is the black community. This is what we do. This is white people do it too. They all do it. But I will never understand that. I will never understand how they see and identify the problem when it's a Clive Davis or somebody of that nature. But then when it comes down to a P. Diddy, then they make excuses for why, oh, well, that's their fault they got into that kind of contract. Then it becomes the fault of the artist. The other times it don't be the fault of the artist. It be the fault of the white man who signed the artist. But this man, he gets all the excuse. It's crazy. You said, JoJo, I hope y'all have water at the march. Summer is around the corner. You said, do the feds pay for you hotel when you testify? I think so. Now I don't know who's going to be picking this one up, Just B. I have to go back and consult with the Quinn Emanuel group. I'm going to have to make contact with them because I'm going to have to contact them and let them know about my findings and let them know, I know what you're doing, nigga. I know what you're doing. I know what y'all did. I done figured it out. When y'all pulled up out of that case off of Diddy in 2024, it is because y'all had that consultation with Maurice Shakur and y'all saw what the hell y'all saw and y'all said, guess what? We cannot defend this man in this New York trial because we are going to be coming after this man in this civil case. That was the reason you pulled out. Not because of no personal or professional relationship with Jay-Z. That little case with that woman, that mentally challenged woman, was not enough for you to talk about some conflict of interest for you to pull out. Now, we bought it at the time, but now we know what we know. We know why you really pulled out of that case. Because you sat down with Maurice Shakur, and you said, bingo. This can end up being the case of your career. And Sparrow and the Queen Emanuel group have dealt with lots of high-profile cases. But in order for you to come to a conclusion on the murder of Tupac Shakur for the African-American community, this is going to be like Jesus died on the cross for our sins. This is a big thing. And so if he can any kind of way help and assist to bring that to justice, By God, he is on the job. He is on the job. And that is what changed his mind about defending P. Diddy. And that's what I'm saying, and I'm sticking to it, y'all. I'm sticking to it. Wait a minute. You said, I thought this. No, the state of Las Vegas has Keefe D. But we don't know who's going to end up getting Diddy for his part, because you got to remember, with Diddy, it's a possibility that because of the state travels and because of the arrangements being made in other states and all of these kind of things, it might be more of a federal case and not a state case. We don't know. We don't know how that's going to shape. We need some legal advice. So we need somebody, Angie, come give us some legal advice and tell us. I think it's a possibility that with Diddy, it could end up being a federal case, because you are talking about arrangements being made in New York to commit a crime in Vegas. So I don't know. For him, we don't know who you're going to be testifying for just yet. We don't know whether the state is going to need you to testify or whether it is going to be the federal government in which district. But I do know that they do provide travel expenses for their witnesses. So just don't worry about that. We will get you there, okay? You said Carla has put together a case. I'm thinking about sponsoring Sylvia to cover this case. This is gonna be some shit. You hear me? And I'm telling you, Sparrow has a major connection to them getting to Diddy in a criminal capacity on this case. And this is the situation. It's so crazy because we were just talking about this. Remember, Just Being Tears? We were just talking about them using a civil case in order for them to investigate and get the discovery needed to file criminal charges. So, listen, I am convinced now, because if they had put Busby on the job, I might have would have just overlooked the story. But when I found out that Alex Sparrow was entered as the attorney for the Shakur estate, and then I looked at the timeline of when he was supposed to be going up to go represent Diddy, and then when Maurice Shakur said that he went to go talk to him about this case, yeah, you ain't drop out because of no personal professional relationship with Diddy. You saw another gold mine. And trust me, I'm not saying gold mine in the terms of currency, of making money. I'm talking about a major career victory. That is currency all in of itself. Knowing that you played a major role in such a major, coming to a conclusion on such a major case. You said, I bet the feds have a bigger travel budget. Said, I hope they call. Listen, I'm going to try to see what I can do to see if we can get the federal indictment. But just we got to settle for what we can get, okay? We got to settle for what we can get. And then we got to consider this. Okay? If he gets charged by the state, we can't have a crazy man go into the White House and be talking about pardoning him, okay? If he gets charged by the feds, we might end up with another crazy ass man like Donald Trump. Or Donald Trump is right now trying to figure out ways to keep his ass in the White House. That's why he putting all that gold bullshit up in there, trying to build that ballroom on some asbestos. And he might pardon the man. We got to consider that. So the state might just be the best route. I don't know. But we're going to see. We're going to see what we can do to get to the federal charges. But I do think that some of the foundation and some of the receipts would suggest that possibly P. Diddy's part of the conspiracy could end up being a federal crime. Now, Keefe D's part was a state crime. But Diddy might be a federal crime. I'm just saying, based on some of the stuff, preliminary stuff that we've heard circulating, some of the rumors, he might be on his way back to another federal case. You said, if it's the state, I can be on camera that night. Yes. Yeah, if it's feds, you ain't going to be on the camera. They're going to have somebody just be in the courtroom take drawing pictures of you like the ones they would ugly ass pictures they was drawing the Diddy up in that federal court in New York. Now, this is what I could do because see, I have two children. They are excellent artists. I can try to see if the court will let them come because they are like experts on self portraits. Just be they will make you look good, girl. I could see if the court will let them come and do your portraits for you, okay? At a discounted rate, since they're not going to be using the regular court stenographer. Is it? I think is it a stenographer that does the drawings? I think is the stenographer the person who take the transcript, or who's the person that does the drawings? Whoever that is. Yeah, that's who I'm trying to get. You say you said just be you said I'm dead serious. You said me too. Yeah, listen. You know, if you send Lucy up there, I love Lucy up there. I love Lucy gonna find some way to throw that case. She gonna find some way to throw a monkey wrench in that case. I'm about to tell you, if you said I love Lucy up there, Alan Spiro already gonna be on it. He is gonna want her banned from the courtroom. He is not gonna allow no Rule 22, none of that. They are gonna know before she get there that I love Lucy is trouble when you let her in that courtroom. You said now you're thinking, Carla, I'll send them some practice photos. Oh yeah, so that they can be familiar. So that they can be familiar. I'm telling you, they two bad ones now. They are bad. I'm talking about very artistically inclined. They are gonna make the picture look like it's you. They are gonna think that somebody went and took an actual photo of you. Because we don't want to leave that into the hands of them ones that they had in the Diddy trial. So if it's federal, then we will have them on standby. One of them two will be on standby for you. If it is state, then you will be able to make your debut on national TV. Right? We won't need that. We don't need none of that. Okay? You said now about my suit. I require a sweet suit and brooch. Okay, you got it, girl. Whatever you ask, that is what's going to make your testimony more effective. We got it. I will have it placed into the budget. But first, I just must make my phone calls into the Quinn Emanuel group. So you said no AI. You said I need a look to look good while I'm saying exactly. You don't want to be caught snitching looking bad. You don't want to be caught snitching looking bad. Just I'm saying no AI. Yeah, this is about to be something. This is not no little ass shit. And that's why I started off with talking about what the Boston Globe did by exposing the Catholic Church through its investigative reporting. The Boston Globe won the Pulitzer Prize because they were the ones who had the courage to shine the spotlight on the situation and got justice for some of those victims that were molested and violated by those priests and were also that were supported by the archdiocese. So this has been the role of investigative reporting since investigative reporting started. It is the reason why they use investigative reporting. It is a reason why they have a job, right? And those reports might come through news pieces. They might come through documentaries or other methods. But this is nothing new that is occurring. And so as a result, now we have the reckoning is going to be subpoenaed. All of the information, all of the things that they did not use and did not put forward are going to be combed through and looked at. All of the things that they had, because 50 Cent said that they had some more stuff now, that they could make some more. That's why I said, just we gotta make you you gotta be on a documentary first. So we qualify, that's how we qualify you as a witness. So we're going to qualify you through the documentary first. So 50 Cent is going to have to come up off of some of that stuff that he said that he had, that he could make some more, docu-series from. We're going to have him come up off of that. We're going to put you in there and we're going to get it done. Okay? You said, I'm about to this. Yeah, because you know that Sylvia will go throw the case. Sylvia gonna go wherever she show up. She gonna throw the case, child. She gonna tell them people something that's on the video that ain't on the video. She gonna tell them something in the paperwork that ain't in the paper. She gonna find some way to spin this shit for the people in order to get them to believe the shit. And then next thing you know, you got a not guilty. And we all, the rest of us is sitting back saying, what the hell did happen? Because we know what we saw. You said just y'all, I just had to come and tell y'all about this situation. We watch it unfold and we see what happened. But y'all, I am almost certain that Spiro has some information that leads him to believe that he can win a civil suit. And he knows that if he can win a civil suit, and that civil suit leads to a criminal investigation on the person who has said to have been the one who orchestrated this conspiracy, because that's the other thing. That's the other thing that leads it into a federal thing. That he would be the orchestrator. Again, he's placed at the top of this whole shit once again. In a whole conspiracy to unalive a hip-hop legend. You said, well, y'all get ready. Let's cover it in August. Yeah, the case, the state case is supposed to start in August. So, but I think they're going to try to do something else in order to push that back. So we just got to wait and see what happens. I think Keefe is going to do something else in order to try to get that pushed back. We might end up getting more information from this civil process before we get to Keefe dealing with that state situation. Because he might go get some new lawyers again. They say, remember I came to y'all and told y'all they said he was trying to get Diddy to come testify? Somebody said he had put Diddy on the witness list. So I don't know. We just got to wait and see. But this is a major thing. Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's personal attorney, is representing the Tupac Shakur estate in the lawsuit against Keefe D and 100 other unnamed defendants. In the complaint, it alleges that the participants planned, financed, directed, and carried out the conspiracy to unalive Tupac Shakur. As discovery is processed, they will list names of those other 100 unnamed defendants and their capacity in the conspiracy. That is what the lawsuit is saying it is going to do. On that note, thank all of y'all for coming and talking to me today. I appreciate y'all. I had a good time, good laughter with y'all. And please come back. Y'all know I always enjoy y'all. If I have something else this evening, I will come back. Other than that, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a great evening.